Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing great. My name is Niloofar and I'll be introducing our project for Data 608, which is about a data-driven approach to understanding financial complaint outcomes. Our team members are Monica, Ashique, Ali, and myself. The domain of our project is financial services and customer complaint. In this project, our main goal was to develop a predictive model to forecast the company's response and the consumer dispute based on the consumer complaint narrative. The results of our project can be further analyzed and be used to improve customer satisfaction and business operations by addressing the key issues leading to consumer disputes and evaluating how the company responds. The Consumer Complaint Database from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, or CFPB, is a collection of complaints about financial products and services issues along with companies' responses. To give you an overview how submission to CFPB work, in the first step, individuals submit a complaint. In the second step, the CFPB sends the complaint directly to the company for review. In the third step, the company communicates with the individuals and respond to the complaints issued, typically within 15 days, or it can also take up to 60 days with prior notice. In the fourth step, if the individual gives consent, the CFPB publishes information about their complaint on their database without identifying them. And in the last step, the individuals can review and provide feedback within 60 days to the company's response. So we obtain our dataset from a Google BigQuery public dataset, which contains data from 2011 to 2023. The size of the dataset is 2.15 gigabyte. That includes complaints from all over the US. And the dataset also includes 3 million rows with 18 columns. Some of the important columns in our dataset include the type of product and the issue the consumer identified in their complaints, the consumer complaint narrative, and whether they have provided consent or not. Other columns include the route of consumer submission and the company's response to the consumer, and finally, whether the consumer disputed the company's response. So we started our data exploration by checking for missing values. For categorical values, we replaced missing values with a placeholder and dropped columns that were not needed for our analysis, and also dropped rows with less than 5% of missing values. And for data cleaning and wrangling, we use Spark. In the next section, we will be exploring the guiding questions of our project.
Hi everyone, my name is Monica. I will be talking about the insights derived from CFPB dataset. We built a dashboard using Dashplotly, which is a Python's package, BigQuery, and Spark to understand the same. This is how the homepage of our dashboard looks like. It gives a brief introduction about CFPB and a snapshot of our data. Dashboard was initially built on Spark data frame and BigQuery. For data transformation, Spark was a better option. However, for extracting the data for visualization, BigQueries emerged as a better option because of the superior processing times, which is essential for handling big data sets like ours. Our first question was focused on the distribution of complaints by products, subproducts, and potential variation across states. The associated bar chart over here shows that credit reporting has had the highest number of complaints lodged, and followed by debt collection and mortgage. Products and subproducts in the dataset correspond to the types of financial services that the complaints are about. For example, a product could be mortgage, and subproduct could be conventional home mortgage or federal housing mortgage, etc. And these are essential to understand which aspects of the financial services that the consumer has had an issue with. Further, when we take a look at the geographical distribution of these products and subproducts, we can see for credit reporting, Florida has had the highest cases, over 220,000 complaints lodged, followed by Texas, close to 200, and California, again, 175,000 complaints lodged. When we take a look at mortgage, we can see for conventional home mortgages, California has had the highest number of cases lodged. These insights are crucial for financial companies and state authorities to understand so that they can target these products as the areas for improvement in their customer services. Our second question was to find most frequently mentioned issues and sub-issues in the complaints. So issues and sub-issues refer to the specific problems that the consumers encountered with products that I mentioned earlier. Let's take the example of mortgage again. So the issue could be struggling to pay a mortgage, and the sub-issue could be trouble during payment process, etc. And with respect to credit reporting, we can see which has had the highest number of issues lodged. The information being incorrect on the credit report is one of the top issues. So it could be either account information incorrect or personal information incorrect, or the information that belonged to someone else was being reported. So when we filtered only the top complaints by issues and sub-issues, most of the issues were again pointing towards the credit reporting, and which highlights again the significant challenge in the credit reporting companies, that it requires immediate attention to enhance consumers' trust and the accuracy of these credit reports. The third question that we wanted to answer was based on the submission method. So one of the columns that we have is how complaints are being submitted. It could be either through web form, referrals, phone, postal mail, fax, or web referral or emails. To our surprise, emails had the least number of submissions, whereas web forms had the highest number of submissions. And clearly, using this graph, we couldn't establish any relationship between that. However, we wanted to again statistically confirm the same. So we conducted a chi-square test to support our findings. And what chi-square test does is it builds a contingency table after cross-tabulating the categorical variables for which you want to establish independence. It gives you a chi-square statistic and a p-value. So the chi-square statistic, if it's higher, the better, and p-value, if it is less, when I say less, it should be less than 0.05, then there is a significant relationship. And if it's higher than that, which in our case is clearly way too high, it means that there is no significant relationship between the submission method and the response from the company. So if you were thinking, I can do a phone call and maybe I'll get a monetary relief as my closure status, that could be wrong. Thank you.
Hi everyone, this is Ashique. And in the next guiding question, we are basically trying to find the trend in total number of cases reported to CFPB, companies' response to those cases, and the issue category those cases was raised to. And if we see the total number of cases per day, it is fluctuating a lot. So to smooth out this, we used monthly moving average. In the year 2012, the daily cases were pretty low, below 300, but over the years, this increased a lot. And in the year 2023, we have data till March. This is around 3,000 cases per day, so which is pretty high. If we now try to understand the trend in the response to those cases, most of the cases was closed with just with a simple explanation, followed by monetary and non-monetary relief. For non-monetary relief, there is an interesting thing to notice that from the year 2022, this started rising a lot, but we don't have enough explanation that we can found from our data set. In the recent months, the in-progress items are pretty high, which kind of makes sense. Now, if we try to understand the highest category where the most number of complaints has been registered, we can see since the year 2014 to 2023, it was somehow related to misreporting. So companies need to focus on that part. Now to our next guiding question, which is basically trying to understand whether the company's response to the customer kind of make any decision to the customer dispute or not. If we segregate the customer's response, this category into dispute and non-dispute, then we can find for the non-monetary relief and monetary relief, the dispute percentage is around 10%, but for the other cases, the disputes are around 20%. So we can conclude that if the company is giving some kind of monetary or non-monetary relief to the consumer, then the chances of customer raising a dispute is decreased by around 50%.
Hello everyone, my name is Ali and I'm going through the modeling part. Here we are going to predict the consumer dispute based on the consumer narrative and other features. So we extracted 160,000 rows of the data which included the narrative and used different features and different model combinations to get the best test data accuracy from the baseline. However, we couldn't see improvement in the test data accuracy because of two reasons. The one reason is the imbalanced data set, which we can see here. And the second reason is the unknown feature, that when the consumer receives the company response, we don't know what happens in between that the consumer will dispute or not. So here we can see after undersampling, the prediction didn't improve well. So after that, we changed our approach and created another model to predict the company's response, which is monetary or non-monetary relief based on the consumer narrative. So the feature here is the same as before, but the response variable here is different. And we played with these parameters, hyperparameters of TF-IDF vectorizer to find the best model. The L2 represents the sum square of each vector to be equal to 1. The n-gram range specifies that each word is tokenized as a single unit, or two words be considered as a single unit. And mean DF is the minimum number of documents that can include the word, and the max DF is the maximum proportion of the documents that can include the word. So after finding the best parameters using pipeline, we created a model to increase the baseline accuracy from 60% to 84%. And this is the confusion matrix of predicting monetary relief or non-monetary relief, and the baseline accuracy increased from 62 to 85. After finding the best model, we stored it in our folder and used it in our main PY application that is going to be deployed to the GCP, as well as all the necessary files here. The index.html is what we see in our web app. The Docker file is built based on the Google instructions, and the requirements.txt are all the libraries that is necessary to deploy our file to the GCP. And finally, we deployed it on GCP and we can see that it is working well.
Hi everyone, this is Ashique again. This is the amazing application Ali was talking about, where basically a consumer can put their narrative and they can predict the company's response for that narrative. Now, this is based on the NLP model that we have discussed earlier. And those models were trained till 2023 March data. So to test this one, we have downloaded something from the CFPB dataset. And this is in this Excel sheet. So let's take one of the data where this is closed with non-monetary relief and put it in the ticked. Wow, this is 99% chance that it will close with non-monetary relief, which was actually in the dataset. Now let's try test something with monetary relief. This one is monetary relief. So I'll copy this one and paste it to this tool and let's predict. Wow, this is 95% chance that this will be closed with monetary relief. So we can say our application is working good. That's the end of this presentation. Thank you so much, everyone. If you have any question or feedback, please let us know.